We truly support all 4 of the campaign's priorities. There are 2 comments I'd make though, is particularly the interrelated nature of all those four areas. The way, for example, you can't have good services without a strong, and we'd say very much a fair taxation base, but also the quality of services is important as well. Fair jobs, but jobs, not just any job that pays a wage that enables people to move out of poverty is important, and also the quality of the job, how it makes people feel and whether it fits around their other responsibilities. So there's also a need to really understand the complexity and the nitty-gritty in a way of all those 4 areas. So not just 4 themes, carte blanche, but the nuances between them is important. Oxfam has evidence that climate change is a serious threat right now to all the development work around the world, but also affecting people's livelihoods here in Scotland as we speak. It's not just something that's going to happen in the future. So climate change is hugely important that we address it, we start adaptation already, and we also start looking for the opportunities that present in those adaptations to a low carbon economy. So for example, jobs for people who have been excluded by the processes of deindustrialisation is a very important area, so that we can have something positive from the impact of climate change. So sustainability is a huge thing that I think should actually run across all 4 of your current themes. We can see that donations to our shop network are very much down, but the demand and the sales at our shops are up. So you can see through that just a window into how people are changing the way they're using their materials, they're using their goods, they're changing their consumption patterns, trying to recycle a bit more, but also trying to use second-hand products a bit more as well. But any impact on Oxfam is felt 1,000 times more for those really small community-orientated organisations that we work with, our partners out there in the communities who are doing a lot of the work. They're that much more vulnerable. Their funding base is much less diverse than ours is, and so any change to their funding, their sources of funding is going to make them that much more insecure, and the threats are really, really close. I mean, people are having funding cut retrospectively, and that means changing to how they deliver services and also the amount of services. So we're going to see a real impact on people's lives, and it's already happening. It's really quite scary. The other impact, I'd say, from the rhetoric around the funding cuts that's important to look at is how it's making people change their expectations of the state. And there's a real danger, I think, that in this talk around cutting the state, we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, because people are seeing that the state is now something full of waste where it's not. There are very, very important core services that the state needs to be responsible for and provide. Oxfam calls it social protection. It works in our work around the world, but they're core services that we shouldn't risk cutting in our pursuit of reducing the size of the state, and we should look at other funding sources as well, including through the tax base. We certainly believe there are other revenue-raising opportunities, and one major area that Oxfam's pursuing here and overseas is the Robin Hood tax, the financial transaction taxation system, where tiny tax on international financial transactions could raise millions of pounds. We see that being the money raised being spent overseas, particularly for climate change adaptation measures, but also being spent here in the UK to help welfare services, to bring about the strong services to really support the most vulnerable people in our society who are being most affected. But then again, let's remember they're the ones who are least responsible for the financial crisis that we find ourselves in.